This addiction cost me a lot in my career and my personal life. It cost me winning more tournaments. League of Legends is now banned in my house.
My name's Neil Robertson. I'm a world champion snooker player. I'm an online computer games addict. I'm 5 months sober.
This is Neil Robertson, an Australian professional snooker player and a former world champion. Although he has won many titles in different tournaments, as the man himself has said, he could have won more. Instead of focusing on becoming a world champion again after winning the title in 2010, Neil Robertson started spending more and more of his time unlocking champions in World of Warcraft. Yes, that's right, even professional athletes can get addicted to video games, and in Neil Robertson's case, this addiction affected not only him, but also his career and his family. The games he liked to play were League of Legends, World of Warcraft, and FIFA. Two of those games, League of Legends and World of Warcraft, are massive multiplayer online role-playing games that, according to research, are the most addictive kinds of games out there. Playing only one extremely addictive game like WoW, which is very deep and complex and requires you to spend hours and hours just to scratch the surface of the game, well, that's bad enough. Think about being addicted to two of these types of games and FIFA, which, as we already know, is a cheap yearly money grab by Electronic Arts for you to spend as much of your money as possible on microtransactions. However, it gets worse. Neil Robertson describes himself as a really addictive person who has to go 100% at a thing and try to be the best. Now, this is a great trait to have for a professional athlete. It's not so great when it comes to being addicted to video games.
I'd start playing the games with maybe all the intention was just to play for an hour and a half or something like that, and then I'd head off to the club and go to practice snooker. Problem is, if you're a super competitive person, I can't walk away from the computer with a defeat. I've got to get on a good winning streak before I can leave the house happy and then go to practice.
And I think we can all relate to this. Humans are naturally competitive, and when we're faced with defeat, we can't let that go. We need to win. However, if you tend to obsess over things or get addicted easily, not being able to let go of that idea ending on a win can cause problems, as it did for Neil. Actually, for Neil Robertson, playing video games, although providing that natural competition craving, was actually more of a relief. As he stated, "When I was playing video games, nobody was watching my every move or judging me. I was putting so much pressure on myself to play at the top of my game constantly. It was something different, a release. I enjoyed playing video games more than I enjoyed playing snooker." Unfortunately, this relief came with a cost. Robertson became not only less involved in his professional training, but also less involved in his family. One night when he was on one of his all-night gaming binges, Robertson was so deep into his game that he didn't notice his recently born son was crying when Robertson was supposed to be on watch. He was wearing headphones at the time and fully immersed in the game, not noticing the outside world around him.
When Alexander was first born and I was meant to be on feeding duty at night time, and I thought, oh great, I'll just play some games. So I put my headphones on, I'm playing this game. It's probably 2:30 in the morning or something like that. The next minute I can just feel somebody behind me, and it was Miller holding Alexander because he was crying in his cot, and I just didn't even know.
And yeah, he could pull all-nighters and actually up to 18-hour gaming binges, locked up in his room, of which only he knew the passcode of.
At the height of his addiction, Neil would lock himself away from his family in his man cave.
This is where it all used to happen.
A room that only he knew the entry code to.
How long would you spend here in a day?
I'd be playing for 18 hours straight, and to me it would only feel like 3 hours. And the next minute I know, the birds are tweeting outside and it's starting to get quite light and the sun's coming through, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got to go to bed.
With all of this, you might be thinking to yourself that it's insane how a man who seemingly has everything, a career that he's passionate about, a family, money, a nice place to live, could become addicted to such an extreme level in the busy everyday life that he was living. Well, addiction can happen to anyone. Some may be less likely to be affected by others, while others much more likely. So what can we do about it? What is Neil Robertson's advice on overcoming gaming addiction, since he actually did it? "I was addicted to snooker when I was younger. A very good thing to become addicted to, as it gave me a job and provided for myself and my family. Then I became addicted to video games, a very bad thing to become addicted to. I discovered snooker at an early age." Somebody else could discover gambling at a very young age and get excited about a 20-pound jackpot on a fruit machine and get addicted that way. I was lucky, others might not be. The first thing that finally led Neil Robertson to quit playing video games was when he lost in the first rounds of 3 consecutive tournaments of snooker. Of course, problems in the family caused by his addiction added to his desire to quit as well. The lesson here is that you need to become aware of how your problematic gaming or addiction is affecting your life and your loved ones. Often when we're in the midst of our addiction, we're blind to this, but it's important that we step back and see a bigger perspective. When we're engaged in unhealthy gaming, we start to struggle in other areas of our life. Noticing when and how gaming is affecting these areas of our lives is key to beginning to change our behavior. Another thing that helped Neil Robertson and might help you is to change gaming into another healthier hobby. Robertson began painting miniatures for a tabletop game called Warhammer. I paint these little figurines which I can then battle with against other collectors. It takes skill and time to paint them, and I've finally become really good at painting. There are a lot of different techniques to it. If you're recovering from a gambling addiction or any other addiction that's detrimental to you, you have to find something healthy to distract yourself with. You need to keep yourself busy so that you do not end up going back to your addiction. We all become addicted to different things. Every human being has some sort of addiction in them. You just need to distract yourself from the bad addictions. The approach that Neil Robertson took is great. It allowed him not only to replace a bad habit with an arguably better one, but also provide him with some new skills and a healthier view of a hobby. If you are suffering from problematic gaming or a gaming addiction, replacing a bad habit with a good one will help you as well. For me, that's things like the gym, going to the beach, surfing, go-kart racing, and a whole bunch of others that I found over time. If you're looking for ideas on other things that you can do, head over to gamequiz.com and we have a list of 70 different hobby ideas that you can choose from. You can also take the quiz on the homepage, which will ask you a set of 9 questions to understand if you have a gaming hobby or a gaming problem. Unfortunately, Neil Robertson is not the only famous person who struggled with a gaming addiction. So check out my video on Alex Becker, a famous entrepreneur and content creator.